A bird flu devastates poultry farms in South Dakota and across the United States. And now scientists are worried the highly contagious virus could someday take a hold in humans. South Dakota News Watch reporter Bart Fancook tonight with more on the concern.
Outbreaks of avian influenza, also known as the H5N1 virus, have led to the killing of millions of turkeys, chickens, and pheasants in South Dakota. But scientists are increasingly concerned that the virus may mutate into a form that could lead to the next human pandemic. USDA data show that South Dakota is second in the nation for the number of bird flu outbreaks at commercial poultry farms. As of mid-March, the state has suffered the death or destruction of 6.1 million birds. Most of the 114 commercial outbreaks in South Dakota occurred at turkey farms operated by Hutterite colonies. But an outbreak in 2023 led to the destruction of about 30,000 pheasants at Giese Pheasant Farms near Ipswich. State health officials say bird flu is likely responsible for the death of thousands of wild geese found on the banks of Lake Byron in Beadle County this month. Consumers are seeing the effects of the national bird flu outbreak, which has claimed 166 million birds, in the rising cost of eggs and chicken breast. Farmers who lose flocks are indemnified by the federal government and receive payments to offset losses. So far, the CDC lists the human risk from bird flu as, quote, very low, even as 70 human cases and 1 death have been reported nationally. However, the ability of the H5N1 virus to mutate and infect mammals, including cows and cats in South Dakota, show that the virus could someday mutate into a form that allows for spread and sickness among humans. Despite some setbacks due to firings of federal employees by the Trump administration, the government attack against bird flu is picking up steam, with the USDA proposing a $1 billion program to stop the spread of the virus. For South Dakota News Watch, I'm Bart Fancook.